Hi everybody! Happy Wednesday! I hope you've had a great week. Oh my goodness. The past 2 weeks since I last posted has gone so quickly. It's gone so quickly. My life is just a sea of, it's just a never-ending sea of pots, watering plants, putting clothes on and taking clothes off children, cooking meals, just it's so crazy where I am in my house, but it's a house full of love and it's absolutely amazing. I love my life. I love my life. I wouldn't change a thing. I love it. There's been so much going on in our house. Visits from high dimensional beings, and we even had a very tall blue being in our house the other day, so things seem to have cranked up exponentially. I'm getting loads more downloads myself of information, lots more spontaneous past life recall, and lots more of linking into my star family and them giving me more messages about what's actually going on the planet right now. I felt very, very guided these past 2 weeks to start a medicinal plant garden. So I now have an area in the garden where I have plants growing that are for medicinal purposes. And I've bought lots of little bottles that I'm going to make tinctures out of, to help people with ailments as we go through this transitional period to the shift. Now I believe we're gearing up to, again, another very significant, probably another lockdown at some point. But the second time, they will absolutely go for it. And I believe that everything will just close down. So for me, I feel it's very, very important that I have lots and lots of herbs and wildflowers and wild berries and wild bushes and all of the old remedies growing in my garden, so that I can make medicine from nature, which is what we should be doing out of my garden. So I've got things like, God, I'll not be able to remember any of the names now. My memory's shocking. Is your memory shocking? I swear to God, my memory's shocking. I can't remember anything. Can't remember anything. Okay, let me try. I've got chamomile. I've got self-heal, pennyroyal, mugwort, betony, something else that ends in E, can't remember. Dandelions, burdock, honeysuckle, all of the old school remedies of things that back in the day you would go and see a healer woman in your village, and they would hook you up with what you needed: an ointment, a tincture, a drink, a tonic. It was called a tonic. I've got all of that stuff growing in my garden, and I bought a couple of books on the old remedies, but as I've been reading these descriptions of what each and every flower, what the root and the flower of these different types of plants do, I've also been like linking into past lives where I actually worked with those plants, and it's been an incredible time for me these past few weeks. It really has, planting this new medicinal garden. So now I have all of the fruit trees, all of the vegetables, chickens, a medicinal garden. I've got all my bottles ready. I'm ready. I've even been pickling my own beetroot. I kind of screwed up here, and I've planted far too many of certain things in the garden. So like, I've got about 30 Savoy cabbages that are coming to harvestable levels now, and I'm thinking, what the hell am I going to do with 30 Savoy cabbages? Yes, I'll sauerkraut some. We'll have a stir fry. And then I'll just be taking Savoy cabbages around the neighbourhood. Hi! I'm your friendly crazy person. Would you like a Savoy cabbage? Oh, God. You've got to laugh, haven't you? If you didn't laugh, you would cry. But there's so much going on Earth. So many more people are waking up. I'm finding that a lot of the people that are booking in to see me for sessions are people that have found Dolores and are wanting to train themselves. So it's beautiful that they, you know, the ones that are coming to me because I feel like I will be there for them, and I'll really, really help them on their journey. And if they need anything, I'm there. If they want to practice on me, I'm there. There's a whole new level of waking upness going on, and it's just beautiful. And I'm hearing stories all the way round of, you know, people really starting to wake up. And I'm hearing stories from the people that I'm connected to, that I'm linked into, the really connected people who are already connected to parts of their multidimensional selves, coming out with incredible stories of the things that have been happening to them since the solstice. You know, these huge energies came in over the solstice. I don't know about you guys, but it knocked me off my feet. And I mean absolutely knocked me off my feet. The whole solstice week, 2 weeks around that time actually, I was just, as soon as the children were in bed, I was fast asleep. Couldn't stay awake. And I've also had some incredible meditation sessions and dreams where I've ended up joining other significant people on the planet, and they've been telling me things about what's going to be happening in the future in terms of New Earth, and how we're all going to have to pull together as a community and look after the children, and all of the healing that's going to be needed, and all of us coming together as a community of compassionate, amazing light workers, amazing kind people, and creating something quite beautiful, all of us together. And it's so close now. It's so close. I mean, I'm getting to the point where sometimes I wake up, and even though I absolutely love my life and I look around, it's getting to a point where I'll wake up in the morning now and I think, oh, we're still in 3D. We've not quite popped into that new reality yet. And it's there, guys. It's absolutely there at the tips of our fingers. Because as the darkness is descending down, we are descending up. Descending up? Is that even a thing? Ascending up. Ass. We are ascending up. And when the final parting of the energies happens, oh my goodness. I've been shown how amazing that is going to be. A world where there's no kind of, ooh, who's out there? Can we let the kids out? It's children. Explore. Have fun. Come back and tell us what you find. Enjoy playing with the fairies. See you later. But also spending so much time with the children and educating them in the true ways of life and the universe, which is not what they're taught now in conventional schools. And everybody that has a connected heart space and finds themselves in that new realm can teach the young ones. Because all we have to teach them is compassion and how to treat people and how to connect through love. And those of us that have been through this crazy time will remember this crazy time and all of this horrendousness that we went through to fight through the density to get to this higher frequency. And we will educate and guide our children to make sure that this never happens again. Never. Never. And the reason this happened in the first place was certain people started to listen to the darkness, the dark influences that were coming in, and it spread like a sickness. And before you know it, we were in this situation. We will never ever allow on this planet that same sickness to take hold, because we will know who we are and we will know how hard we have fought to unchain ourselves, and we will never allow that to happen again. So I am so happy, or as one of my friends John would say, I'm so stoked to share this session with you today. I loved this session. When I was a child, I was very blessed because I had one of those upbringings in the 80s where you could run out on the streets and play. You could go off on your bike. And I did all of those things. But one of the things that I would love to do more than anything would be to sit and draw. And my favourite book as a child was this dinosaur book that I had, that had pictures, huge colourful pictures of Diplodocus and T-Rex and the ferns of that time. And I spent ages copying the pictures. And back then, when I was a kid, I used to be alright at drawing. I mean, God, I can't draw at all now, but I was back as a child. I could draw. I trained myself to draw. I spent hours in my own little head movies in the dinosaur age, pretending I was a dinosaur, or just pretending I was there and drawing pictures of dinosaurs. So this session for me was superb because it's got all of my favourite things in. It's got dinosaurs, it's got aliens, and it's got Ascension in it. So it's knocked it out of the park. So I'm going to shut up now. Sorry, I know my ramblings do go on a bit at the beginning. But it's the only time I ever get to connect to anyone who understands me. Literally. So indulge me a little bit. Just imagine I'm just a crazy lady that's locked in a house that never gets out, that needs to talk, because that's literally what I am. Right, so we'll start. So I say to the client, what do you see? It's a forest type place. Tell me more. I'm sat under a tree. Tell me what you see as you are sat under that tree. I see, wow, it's like a massive creature in the distance walking through the trees, like a giant dinosaur. Tell me about the dinosaur. It's just, it looks like a giant Diplodocus type thing. It's just wandering through the trees in the distance, and I'm just sat under a tree watching them. And if you become aware of yourself and your point of perception as you watch this creature, become aware of yourself. What do you look like? I'm just human, I think. I'm just a human. And as you look at the body, are you wearing any clothes on the body? Rags, I think. I'm not sure. nothing on the top half, no t-shirt or anything, cloth around my waist, I guess. So he doesn't sound very sure at this point. And we find out later on why this is. And it's because he's concealed his true form to lower himself onto earth. And you find this very often. I find this all the time, that when you have an ET that's wanting to explore earth, they have to take on a form that would be considered normal on earth in order to be able to visit. So he currently perceives himself to be a human, but as we go on, it changes. So I ask him, are you aware of anything in your hands? Very important question. But in this session, not so important. No, I'm just sat by a tree watching this huge creature go by. Does your body feel male or female? Feels male. Do you feel young or old? Youngish. Does the body feel healthy? Yes, it feels fine. Good. Tell me what else you see or become aware of as you sit under this tree. I see giant birds flying across the sky. Tell me about those. They're being scared off by a T-Rex, so they've flown off. As you sit under this tree, what is it that you feel that you are doing there, watching the world go by? I'm just observing. I'm not a part of this place. I'm just observing. So that for me is my first clue as a QHHT practitioner, that the person that we are with at this point is not indigenous to Earth. The fact that they say, I'm not a part of this place, I'm just observing. That's your first clue. So I store that up here, and I try and make my next question allow him to divulge more information. What is it that you came to observe? I'm observing the life. I'm just watching. Making sure that they're all okay? Yes, kind of. Tell me more about that. And when I ask him that question, things start to shift. He starts to sink more into who he really is. He starts to become more of the consciousness that we are in. And he now sees himself in his true form, who he really is. I feel like I'm not human anymore. Tell me more about that. Really connect with that being that you are very deeply. I feel like I'm a grey. I'm quite tall. I'm just stood by this tree. And he takes a really big deep breath now. I'm just watching what's going on, observing things. Through your observations of this place, what is it that you find? Connect with your heart space and your knowing. What is it that you are feeling about this place? I feel like it's not very peaceful. Tell me more about that. The larger creatures want to be peaceful, but there's a lot of chaos created by these other creatures, these T-Rex type creatures. They are not supposed to be here. How did they end up here? They were put here to disturb the peace. So at that point I'm like, wow, this is going to be good. So I say, if you go deep down into that place of knowing, who do you feel placed those creatures there? The negative beings, they don't like peace. So they find it entertaining to bring these creatures down, to disturb the peace. And it's very sad to have to watch that. Such a beautiful place being spoilt. As you observe that, what do you feel that you will do? Where will you take these observations to? And he breathes really deeply now, and he starts to breathe quite pronounced, deeper, consistent, like and when people do that in QHHT, there's either two things happening. Number one, they're having a trauma that's about to surface. So the body's getting prepared, a huge wave of trauma is about to come out. Or number two, they're about to raise the level of oxygen in the body through the enhanced breathing in order to be able to connect to a higher connection. And that higher connection is normally a part of the client's multidimensional self, the client's higher self, or sometimes it can be star family. It can be a collection of beings that recognise that the individual is in a space where they could channel them, and they will go through the client if the client gives permission. It can be a variety of things, but you know if someone starts breathing in that pronounced way, that something good's about to happen. So I say, where will you take these observations to? I have to return. So I say to him, when I count backwards from 3 to 1, we're going to make that return to where you need to take these observations. We're going to travel through time and space to where you need to take these observations. 3, travelling now. 2, 1, be there now. Tell me what you see. I'm in a ship of some kind. It's white inside. Tell me more. And there's a bit of silence then, so I give him more suggestions so he can acclimatise. I say the images will become clearer and clearer as you integrate into this place. It's white inside the ship. I can't see much because it's white. Become aware of yourself and your point of perception. Do you still feel like a grey? Yes, a tall, slender grey. Are you aware of anyone else on that ship with you, or is it just you? I can see a few shorter greys that have come out. They are assistants. What is it that they do as you see them walk around? They're just assistants. They assist yourself. They are just milling around. As you fully immerse yourself into this place, integrate. Tell me what is happening now. I feel like the ship is in emergency mode, like it's been damaged in some way. I'm not sure why. Tell me more about that. And then he goes, oh, and I'm like, what's happened? That sounds significant. Ah, it's the reptilians again. They've found my ship and they are targeting it. And he does a really big deep sigh here. You say it's the reptilians again. Have they tried to attack you before? They attack anyone who comes in. And the ship is damaged? Yes. Again, huge big deep sigh, and I can tell from every fibre of his being that he's not happy. I'm not sure how they've damaged it, but they are very sneaky. I don't judge them though. It's not their fault. I feel like they are just doing what they are told. It's fine. I don't mind. And at this point I think, wow. We've moved up into somebody who is significantly of higher vibration, because the amount of love that comes from this tall grey as we go through this is very significant. He does not judge. He does not judge. He comes from a place of peace always. So I say, what is to be done now that the ship is damaged? I feel like somehow they've come on board, but I don't know how. Now that you feel that they have come on board, are you able to see them? Yes, there's a few of them. What do they look like? Reptilian, quite warrior-like. They seem to be holding weapons. Do you yourself have weapons? No, I don't have weapons. We don't engage in any violence. And he sighs really deeply here. Tell me what's happening now the reptilians have come on board. They want to know what I'm doing there. I don't think they've damaged the ship as such, but they've put it into a form of paralysis so it can't move. I see. So they are able to come on board and ask questions. They know that I'm not a threat to anyone, but they are curious as to why I would be there. So I say I've just come down to observe what's happening on the planet. Do you feel that these reptilians control the planet? That's why they want to know what you are doing? Yes, they are in charge, or they feel that they are in charge. That's why they want to know what I am doing, coming down and observing. I say it's curiosity. I just tell them I'm observing and I'm not doing anything untoward. How do they feel about that when you tell them that you're there to observe? I don't think that they're annoyed with me. We're not friends, but we know each other. We're okay with each other. I don't feel like they are negative. They don't feel sinister. And now you've had this discussion with the reptilians and they understand that you were just observing. Tell me what happens next. It looks like they are leaving. It's almost like they are security, just wondering what you are doing. I tell them and they leave and it's fine. Okay. So now those reptilians have left. Tell me what happens now. And then he laughs almost and he starts to breathe really, really deeply. And I can see some colour coming up, a flush. And I know that something is about to happen because you just know the body shows first. A release of adrenaline has occurred for a reason. One of them turns round. One of them is nasty. The others weren't nasty, but this one is. And he pulls out a weapon, and I am not taking it. No, you are not allowed. You have no idea what happens when you threaten someone like me. And he's breathing so rapidly now, and I have to give him all of the suggestions of he's protected and safe. He can come out of the body if he wishes. He can just see it as a movie. But he manages to calm down, and I say, tell me what happens next. I am able to disarm him mentally. He doesn't understand. Just because we look slender and weak, he doesn't understand that we can control their very existence if we wanted to. I am making sure that they are aware of that, and I think he gets it. Good. And the nasty reptilian, does he leave now that he understands? The nasty reptilian accepts that he has no power and he leaves with the rest. He knows he is not as powerful as he thinks, so they are leaving. Good. Now they are leaving, what do you feel will be your course of action after that altercation? I'm disappointed that these beings would get like this. They shouldn't be as aggressive and dominant as they think they need to be. And I have to give him a suggestion at this point because he's really struggling with the amount of energy that's come through. He's shaking. So I say to him, allow the energy to flow through the body and integrate. Allow the energy to flow through the body and integrate. He continues, I want them to know that they don't have to be this way. They could be happy and peaceful. Yes. Why do you think these reptilians are so aggressive? Why are they this way? And again, he sighs very deeply. He tells a great deal of sadness in there. It's just the way that they are made to be. They follow from birth a regime of punishment. So they feel like they have to be this way, as that is how they have been raised. They don't have to be this way. Why do you think that they are raised this way? Why does it have to be this way? And then he considers something, and it's quite a while before he answers me. He says, it's the main base they have on the moon. It's almost like a place where they raise these beings to be the way they are. I'm not sure why or who does this. Is that where they are primarily located, on the moon? Yes, but they don't want people to know that. But it's fine. So I thought that saying was interesting. The fact that he knew that the reptilians didn't want us to know, but now we're obviously in an age where it is fine for that information to come out. And again, I give him another suggestion because he's shaking really, really hard. I say, allow the energy to flow through the body and stabilise. Allow it to integrate. And he continues, it's dark energy in them. I don't know why that dark energy does what it does. Yes. And these reptilian beings, is it them that has put the T-Rex type creatures on Earth? You said they were put there. Yes, they are controlling what is happening down there. So they are allowed to do what they like and play with their technology. And they can. They are allowed to play around with what's happening on the planet at this point in time. It's the dinosaur period. And then he exhales and he says, the meteor is there. I can see it. So I say, tell me about that. It's on its way. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't think the reptilians know where it's coming from. It's an asteroid blasting through down towards the planet. And the reptilians and I don't know if they know what's happening. But I feel like, yes, I feel like the reptilians are trying to stop the meteor from happening, from hitting, but they can't. They're not strong enough to stop it. And when it hits, the meteor will reset the planet. Who is it that sent the meteorite to reset the planet? I'm not sure where it's come from. Maybe it's a natural thing. Maybe it's been orchestrated by much higher beings. With the technology that the reptilians have, how is it that they are not able to stop that meteorite? They do not have the technology to stop it. And I'm just kind of, my perspective is I'm above the earth, I'm above the moon, and I can see both places. And the meteorite is off to the side coming in. And I just observe. I don't interact or have any influence. As that meteorite makes its way towards the earth, tell me what happens. They tried to stop it, but it broke through whatever they were trying to stop it with. It hit the planet and it wipes out everything. It's a real shame, as it didn't have to be like that. It could have carried on as it was, but the reptilians have messed it up. The creatures there just wanted to live in peace, and they created these machines, these dinosaurs that would attack the peaceful ones. They find it entertaining, but eventually it has to be stopped, as it's not right that they can do that. These reptilians that live on the moon, were they located there always, or have they been somewhere else? The moon is their central point now, where they live now, and they are attached to this planet now, Earth. This is where they want to use the planet for their own benefit. What is it about the Earth that the reptilians like so much? And then he starts to breathe really, really deeply. Why this place? It's difficult to say. It's out of the way. It's kind of a planet that's quite isolated in itself. It's the only planet in the solar system that's quite unique. It's an ideal place for them to interfere because they feel like there is no consequences. What is it about Earth that makes it so unique? It's a place that has very, very high potential. There could be a lot of love on the planet if it was allowed to develop properly. It could be a great place. And so from this place of observation where you are, where you can see the moon and the Earth, tell me what happens after the meteorite hits the Earth. It's reset. The vibrations of the planet reset. How is it that the vibrations reset from having that meteorite hit? What is it that the meteorite does? It clears the frequencies and allows the planet to reset. But I'm still observing, and I feel like even though it's been reset, it's not going to make any difference, and they can still play their games, and the people are not going to be able to stop them. But they are allowed to do what they want, as we all have free will in the universe. So they will be allowed to continue. How do you feel about that? I feel like we have to figure out a way to allow them to play their own games, but to do so in a place where they don't affect the people who do not want that. How can that be done? We need to separate. We have to separate. We have to separate. We have to create a barrier so they are allowed to do what they want to do in their own space, their own little playground, and that's fine. They are allowed to do that if they want. But then the other place is allowed to flourish. How can that be done? It feels like separating flour. You put your hands in flour and separate it. This is very hard to describe. If you put your hands together like a prayer, and then you put your hands down in the flour and push your hands away and separate the flour, it's a partition, a boundary. You push them away from each other. And this goes back to that session that I shared 2 weeks ago about the opposing polarities, pushing them away, a separation of energy. This guy is absolutely collaborating what the other session said. We don't want people to hate the reptilian types. We don't want people to think that they are bad. They are just being as they were programmed to be. We want them to have their own space, so we allow them to continue as they want in their own space. And the earth, the light, is separated into its own space. And it's like an agreement that those reptilians agree that they should have their own space. They want their own space so they can play out their own games. As to them, they are just playing games like a child in a sandpit. So we want them to have their own space, to play their own games, whilst the planet can flourish as normal, as it should, without interference. Yes, and this separation, this barrier, this parting of the flower, where we push the reptilians to one side where they can play their games over there. Tell me more about that. How can that be achieved? In my mind, from my perspective, and at this point I'm talking to the tall grey, it's so simple. There is no consciously having to do anything. People on this planet think that they have to align themselves, and they think that they have to do these. I mean, it's fine. You're allowed to do these things if you want to raise your frequency, but you don't have to do anything. It's already done for you. We have already agreed at a higher level and partitioned. There is no disharmony from my perspective. The people on the planet don't have to worry. But I can see why you would be afraid. I can understand that. But that's because of your level of awareness. My awareness, it is already done. It simply is. How is that partition achieved from your perspective? It's just energy. And he takes in a huge breath now. Sighs. It's a separating of energy. What are the two types of energy that are separating? Light energy compared to very dark. I don't like what they do. It's almost like you have a ball of light and you pull out the dark energy that's in there and you separate them. That's all you have to do. It's quite simple. Quite simple. Doesn't feel so simple from where I'm sat. The people that live on the planet, how will they experience that separation of energy between the dark and the light? They just made a choice, that is all. I don't want the people to have to experience all of this stuff that's happening now. I don't want that, but I can't do anything about it. The people have to make their choice. I am not allowed to interfere. And when the people have made their choice, how will they experience that splitting of energy between the light and the dark? He breathes very, very deep now. Very, very deep. And he's connecting with a higher frequency. I know that because I've done so many of these, so I know that's what's happening. And he doesn't answer me. So I say, how will they know they have separated into the reptilian playground or into the light side? And then he almost whispers, the dark don't know. They have no level of awareness. They are not allowed. They are not evolved enough to carry on in the light side. They have to continue their journey in the dark side until they realise and gain more awareness. The beings on the earth who separate onto the light side, how will they know? They will feel fine. They have no fear. They feel more aware. They are just light. So they are able to continue in the light. I can't go down far enough to your frequency to say what you will feel. I just see from my perspective that the light people are very bright light and they continue into the light. And the dark people are very dark and they continue into the dark. And the two worlds, after they have split, can they affect each other after that, or are they split entirely? No, they will be completely separate. Just split in two. One side and then the other side. And then the middle, they can't break that barrier. The dark is not evolved enough to cross the barrier. The dark are free to play in their own space, and the light continues on in their space. This parting of the two worlds, you said you weren't allowed to interfere. But do you play any part in this for these beings on the earth? Yes, I had to come down here to help out a bit. I came down to stabilise the frequencies. Who is it that I've been speaking to today? I am a tall, dark, very dark grey. People on your planet always talk about the light greys, but we are very dark, almost black. We are peacekeepers. We go around places and observe just to make sure that everything is stable. We don't want the people to suffer. We want to stabilise everybody's peace. We are separate entities. We have our own spaces that we observe and take care of. And as the reptilians use the moon as their base, do your people have any type of base that you use? And then he kind of answers the question, but he doesn't really. I have different forms. The first form in the body is on earth. Then I have this form that I speak through now, the tall grey on the ship. And then I have a huge energy, a huge awareness above me, which is black, but it is not a negative black. It is an energy which is a stabilizer. And this energy is far bigger than the size of a planet. It is very large. And after the session, the client explained to me that he could see that the biggest part of him, other than Source, of course, which we are all a part of, was the energy that resides within a black hole. And I don't know whether you guys know much about black holes, but black holes draw in the energy which on the other side links into a sun. So it's balance, stability. Think of the huge energy that is needed to power the sun. That energy has to come from somewhere, and it links through to the black hole on the other side. It's the tapestry of the universe. Balance. So what we've been told, a black hole is negative, blah 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 blah, it's not. It's a stabilizer, stabilizing energy which allows that sun to burn. And yes, eventually things work their way back through to that black hole energy, but everything is interlinked. We're all linked. Everything is linked. So I say to him, from your point of perception where you are now, what else can you tell us that we need to know? He says, I know how difficult it is. I know how difficult it is. And much that is happening on your planet right now is very saddening. But we just have to get over this little hurdle, a little bump in the road, and it's fine from here. There needs to be more balance. And through this, you will be balanced. And I say, so we need to not allow ourselves to get caught up in the emotions of everything that we can see going on out there. No. Information is okay. Knowing what's going on is okay. But you don't need to know a lot of this stuff. You need to balance and stabilize. And I say, hold the frequency. And he corrects me at this point. He says, hold your frequency. Whatever your own personal frequency is, and everyone's is different, hold that frequency and stay stable. No matter what you see, no matter what happens out there externally, hold that frequency that you have inside. And if you are high frequency, hold it. Do not let anybody or anything affect you. And if it starts to get too crazy out there, unhook, like I had to do in the middle of all of the COVID stuff. Unhook. Get in nature, shoes and socks off, feet in the mud. Feel the soil. Get your back against a tree. Ground yourself. But unhook. And I say, is there any help that you are giving us at the moment? And he says, I'm not allowed to help from where I am, but I came down here in human form, a small part of me to help. Everyone who is on the planet right now is a small part of their true self. They just come down to stabilize and help a very small part of them. And I say, would you consider yourself to be the client's higher self? Yes. Can you show the client what the new earth will be like? It will be like before the meteor, like before the dinosaurs. There was peace and harmony, and the people will be in peace again. And that's all I have for you this week. Believe it or not, that took me about 6 hours. 6 hours work to transcribe that. Takes a heck of a long time to transcribe it, but I know that it's a way I can get information out there, because not everybody, very few people feel comfortable putting themselves out there, their actual sessions out there. The way I do it, it keeps everybody anonymous, nobody knows who anybody is, and it allows me to share the information, but it just means that I have a lot of work to do, and it's taken me 2 weeks in the bits of time that I've had to transcribe that. So again, I hope it's been helpful. I hope that was in the past 3 weeks that I've had that session, so it's up-to-date information. I hope it makes people feel happy that we're going on the right track. Multiple sources of people connected to multiple beings, multiple higher selves, multiple ETs are all saying the same thing. We're going through the split. Light and dark are separating. You will polarize against your choice, where you have chosen at a soul level that you want to experience, and the two energies are parting. They have to be separated in order for the darkness to be allowed to experience what they want to experience in a free will universe, and for us who choose the light to be able to experience what we want to experience in a free will universe. It has to separate. We are going through the separation right now. And again, I will just reiterate what I say to you every time we connect. Make sure that you have enough food in your house, enough water in your house. Make sure you have plenty of things like garlic, turmeric, apple cider vinegar, diatomaceous earth, caprylic acid, coconut oil, fresh herbs, all of those kinds of things, because when everything goes down and everything shuts, you're not going to be able to get your big pharma pills, and who would want to anyway? Let's start transitioning ourselves fully onto remedies from Gaia that is natural, because there is everything in nature to heal any kind of ailment that's physical, but also with therapies like QHHT, many different therapies. If you heal the emotional body, the physical body will absolutely follow the healing that's happened with the emotional body. So take care of yourselves. Make sure you're looking after yourselves. Get out in nature as much as you can. If you can, get some stuff growing. And guys, it's gonna get crazier. We already, as light workers, are not feeling comfortable right now. I know I'm not. I have to literally shut myself off from what is going on out there, because if I looked at it, my heart would break. And my heart is the size of a mountain. And I can't. I can allow myself to see and help 3 people a week. That's all I see, 3 people a week. And at the moment, I have to be honest, I'm finding that tough, because the energies are so all over the place at the moment. In order to maintain my vibration and my stability, I can't see more than 3 people a week. And I will dip in and out, little bits on Twitter, little bits on Facebook. Don't even go there. I rarely check Facebook because it's just a minefield. It's a war zone on there at the moment. I can't do it. I just think I'm doing my bit by making these videos, and hopefully the people that have the frequency that resonate with my energy will find me. And then I hope that I provide some form of connection that will help people get through what is about to occur, because the dam is literally breaking. And we've had trickles of water, we've had gushes of water, but it's about to break. And when it breaks, there's going to be lots and lots of people who need help, who need healing, and just need some guidance. And all I would say to everybody that listens to my videos is, please try so hard, and it is hard, I know, but try so hard not to judge people, because we've all of us been lied to. We've all of us had the wool pulled over our eyes. We've all of us grown up on this crazy planet and not known half of the things that have really been going on. So access that place of compassion inside. And when somebody is verbally attacking you, just understand that it's their fear, their absolute fear that's coming out. Their world is crashing down. They have no idea what's going on. And hopefully we will help as many people as we can in the lead up to the split. And the ones that are ready to listen, who at a soul level have already chosen to move towards the light, we will be there to help them and guide them. But it's going to get more crazy, guys. So make sure you ground yourself, find your place of stability that makes you feel better, whether that's unhooking from social media, getting out into the garden, getting out into the woods. The woods is amazing. If I go into the woods, it resets my frequency instantly. Go to the woods. Of all the places in nature, the trees are our friends. The trees are wonderful. And they are literally rooting for us so much for us to get through this. And don't forget, when you go out into the woods, you are surrounded by the fae. The fairies are there. They're all there. This is the most magical and wonderful time. And there will come a point in time when we've gone through the hardest part, where we are able to look back and say, wow, I'm glad I did that. Although right now, at this moment, I don't think we're quite there yet. But we will be. So hang on to your hats, light workers, starseeds, way showers, kind, genuine people who just love nature, and recognise that there is more to this utter craziness than what we have been told. It's going to be a couple of weeks before I post again. Not sure what I'm going to do next time. Might be dragons, might be more galactic stuff. I don't know. I've got a boatload of more clients before I post again in a couple of weeks, so I'll see what I think is the most interesting and pressing information. But I will be back with you again in 2 weeks. Until then, I love you all. Make sure you keep vibrating high. Till next time.